a little bit older than most of you. In fact, you could probably add a couple of your ages together and not get mine. But I remember virtual learning. Now, we know what virtual learning means, right? When I was going to school, virtual learning meant that you could almost learn, but not quite. Okay, so it's a little bit of a different scenario. But I am glad that you're here today, and hopefully you'll walk away from here with at least some things to think about. Okay, I don't have the answers for you, but what I can do is hopefully help you think about some things in a little bit of a different way. I was telling Ken earlier that I really respect all of you for being here. I wouldn't come down here at this time of day to hear me speak, okay? And the fact that you did is amazing, it's awesome. But I'm going to start off today by asking you a question. How many of you here like magic? Magic. How many of you?
Watching it.
Magic, you know, like illusions, magic. Let me show you what I mean. Ken, you have a 500 showing going on for a second? Okay. We're going to talk about magic in the beginning. So how many of you think I can make this disappear? You think I can? Okay. Great. Thank you. I'm here all week. I do want to talk about magic today. I'll give Ken his 500 back here for us. Excuse me, still. I want to start today by talking a little bit about magic. Of course, leadership is not really magic, but what we know is this. There's a leadership philosophy that's called the magic hidden door. Anybody know what the magic hidden door is? The magic hidden door is something inside of you that helps you get from where you are to where you want to go. Okay? How many of you here want everything to just stay the same in your life from now on? You're not looking to go anywhere else. Okay? Nobody. All of you have some place that you want to go. Some place that you want your leadership journey to take you. But the question is, how do you get there, right? What do you have to do to get from where you are to where you want to go? Those of you who are graduates at the center know that it's very unlikely for me to be here today because I started in a town of 257 people in the middle of the United States. 257 people. Okay? I go back to that little town now, it's 130 some odd people, okay? Because people keep leaving and never coming back. I don't know why. So, at some point in time in my life, and I can tell you what it was, and I will tell you just a little bit, I found that door, that open door that allowed me to go from where I was to where I wanted to be. But here's a newsflash. Before you can do that, you have to know where you want to be, right? And you have to be willing to take the risk to get there. Because it's so easy to get where you want to go, right? This is the audience participation portion. You know? Of course it's not easy. It takes a lot of risk. It takes a lot of courage, right? Eric, you know about courage because you're doing it every day at Bethary, trying to make your foundation successful. Edmund, you know about courage because you have goals in your life that you want to get to, and you know it's not going to be easy, right? So to find this door, it's very important that we understand what it takes to get there. And there's really no magic to it. The magic is what happens when you find it. Because if you walk through that door, if you have that courage, it'll take you to a place that you've never been before. That place that you can't even believe that you're able to get to. That place where you finally understand why you've taken this difficult leadership journey that you're on. Okay? That place where you can see the benefits of the risk and the courage and the struggles and the challenge that you've gone through. So, What does it take to get there? Well, I can tell you the first thing it takes is seeing things differently. Seeing things differently. Looking at a situation that today you would see one way and learning to see it differently. Learning to see different angles of it. Let me give you an example, a couple of examples. A few years ago, when I was working in the Kingdom of Jordan, my son and some of his friends came over to our house, and I had just gotten a new DVD for Christmas. It was about our second president of the United States, John Adams. It was a mini-series. It was like 7 hours long, okay? They didn't watch all 7 hours at one time, but over a period of nights, they watched this entire mini-series. And it starred some guy playing John Adams, and it starred this actress, actress in the United States named Laura Linney, who played John Adams' wife. So we watched that entire thing over a period of a few days, and then we sat there and we said, and I asked him, okay, what is it that you got out of this miniseries? And we started talking about leadership. We started talking about how John Adams took a lot of risk. He could have been killed by the British because he was in rebellion against the British, trying to make the United States, trying to make the colonies a country. So we talked about all of these things, and everybody had a little bit different perspective. And finally came down to my son. And I said, and Daniel, what did you get out of this? And he said, Laura Linney's pretty. Different perspective, right? Okay. He missed the entire thing, 7 hours. 7 hours and he comes up with Laura Linney's pretty? Okay. What? He's not here today, so I can tell that story. But he had a different perspective. Everybody had a different, we watched the same show, right? And had a different perspective. I'll give you a little more serious example. Those of you from the center, who graduated from the center, have already heard. But for those of you that haven't, when I was working in the United States, I used to speak in prisons. Chiefly because if you're speaking in a prison, it's really cool because nobody's going to leave. You know, they'll sit there for an hour. Nobody wants to go back to their cell, so they're like, rock on, dude. You know, 5 hours, doesn't matter. You know, they'll sit and listen to you. Well, one day I was speaking to this prison, and there was a guy that I've talked about before at the center. He's a great big guy. If you build a convict in the lab, it was this dude, right? Every prison movie you've ever seen has this one guy that's like the Incredible Hulk, you know. This was this guy. And after I finished speaking, he stood up and up and up. And he reached his hand out to me. And he says, my name's R.Director. And I got life without parole. Well, I'm looking for a guard immediately because I'm like, this guy got life without parole. He kills me. Who cares, right? But what I found out about R.Director over the next few weeks that I got to know him, he got life without parole. He's in prison for life, right? A downer. You look at that and you say, what hope does this guy have? He has no hope at all. He's in prison the rest of his life. You know what he told me? He said, I thank God every day that I came to prison. Because if I hadn't come to prison, I'd be dead today. I had to come to prison to find my purpose. I found my purpose in this place. And my purpose is to keep guys that are getting paroled from ever coming back here. And that's what he did. Scared him to death. He said, if you ever come back here, I'm going to be here. I'll remember you, don't ever come back. And these dudes were like, man, I'm not running from the cops anymore, man. But this guy said, I found my purpose in prison because he learned to see things a different way. When I looked at his situation, it's hopeless because he's never leaving there unless it's in a casket. He looks at his situation and says, you know what? I'll do something good here. I've been a bad person for most of my life. Now I'm going to do something that matters to somebody. That's how you learn to see things a different way. Are you with me? Yes. And when you learn to see things a different way, then you learn that it's okay to paint outside the lines. Virtually every leader that I've ever met has learned to paint outside the lines. I remember when I was in school, you know, we had in elementary school, you had your coloring book and your crayons. You know, the teacher said, okay, we're going to color a picture. Color me a nice picture. And everybody, oh, it's so beautiful. And I'm over here. she'd look at my paper and say, yeah, we got a special class for you. Right? Why don't you go to the special class? I didn't color inside the lines because to me, the cool stuff was outside the lines. That's the way leaders start to think. Okay? When you start to change the way you see things, you start to realize that it's okay to paint outside the lines. It's okay to see things a different way. It's okay to take a risk because the risk isn't inside the lines, right? The risk is outside the lines. And what are you going to do when you start painting outside the lines? And people start looking at you and say, oh, you're a nonconformist. This is the way things are supposed to be done, right here. But you're doing this, so you must be a troublemaker. No, maybe you're the only person that gets it. Maybe you're the only person who's willing to step out and say, you know what? I'm going to paint outside the lines. What if Nelson Mandela had said, no, I've got to be safe. I've got to stay right here inside the lines, and I can't ever vary out of it. This is a situation that I can't control, so I'm just going to have to deal with this situation as best I can. What if he'd done that? Africa would have been changed forever. Would have been changed for the worst. Paint outside the lines. And when you do that, you'll learn to see things a different way. You start to learn the beauty in the negative space. Now, when you first saw this, what did you see? How many of you saw two blue faces? Okay. Did anybody see the white face in the middle?
Yeah.
See, society teaches us to see the obvious. Society teaches us to see what they want us to see. As a leader, you're taught from the time you're small that this is the way you're supposed to look at the world. Maybe it's your parents that teach you that. Maybe it's your society that teaches it. But this is the way you're supposed to look at things. If you only look at things that one way, are you going to see this? Are you going to see the really cool stuff that other people don't see?